Good day and welcome to The Shift with me, your host, Grace Ruvimbo Chirenje. And today with me on The Shift, a program where we unpack women's narratives, I am joined by Monica Cheru. Welcome, Monica.
Hi, Grace. Thank you for having me.
Most welcome and thank you for coming. Monica is the director and founder of Zimbabwe Now Media, ZimNow, and she's here to talk to us about World Press Freedom Day. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Grace.
What is this World Press Freedom Day about?
My understanding of it, it's a day when the world recognizes the importance of media and also the need for the media to be free in order to do their job as the fourth estate, which is primarily to inform the world of what is going on around them. In brief, I think.
Okay. But it looks like if you look at the continent of Africa and actually all over the world, governments seem to be curtailing people's fundamental freedoms of expression.
I'm glad you said around the world because
Yes.
this is not an African problem.
I do understand.
But on the other hand, I also think that as the media, we need to look at this in two ways.
Okay.
Responsibility and rights. Where do you draw the line? I feel that with the freedom, we are also forsaking a lot of our responsibility. Look at how media personnel, professionals for that matter, are often at the center of peddling fake news, misinforming the public. And I think this is also what then influences the governments to come in and say, how do we handle this? Because there are real people who are affected,
Yes.
real people who die if we don't take responsibility. But that having been said, I think the laws have to be very clear.
Yeah.
What is wrong, what is right, according to the constitution of each country.
Okay. You know, it's funny you should mention fake news and unpacking of narratives. Like I said earlier on, here at on The Shift, we unpack women's narratives. And I do know that media is very influential when it comes to sharing the stories of women, their lived realities. There is quite a lot of negative reporting around women. What do you have to say about that?
I think we are going through a process where the media has belonged to men.
Okay.
They owned the media, they were the journalists, they bought the media products.
Yeah.
And it is now with women being empowered in all those aspects that we are seeing a change. But like I said, it's a process.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think we should celebrate what we have won.
The progress.
Yes, we are female editors.
Yes.
We are female media owners.
We have you. Exactly. I was going to say that. We've got you.
Yes.
All right.
And we have women in strong positions who are making a difference. I mean, the list is endless.
Okay.
So women as newsmakers, we are now there as well. But what I feel is still a bit lacking is women taking ownership of the news, demanding to be part of the... I remember one time, someone asking me to comment on Women's Month, and I said, no, I'm not interested. I want to comment on the hard news. Ask me about, the gold mafia, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Ask me about the gold-backed digital currency. That's what I want to comment on. So as women, let's also get out of the pink corner and tackle the real issues in the news.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a lot of bias of soft issues versus hard issues. So I really commend that you said no to that, and you demanded your space in terms of amplifying women's voices when it comes to the issues that are regarded as the hard issues. Okay, so let's just go back to World Press Freedom Day. I know that their theme was around freedom of expression and also gender equality. And I know that when we're looking at issues to do with newsrooms, for example, you mentioned it, there's a lot of inequality because men predominantly owned the news spaces. Do you think that there's been any shift in that regard in terms of the newsrooms? Do you think that there's been an advancement of gender equality and equity, or we're still struggling in that regard?
Definitely there's been a shift, but more could be done. Like I said, we have female editors at all levels. We also have laws. We have gender policies. We have sexual harassment policies. And I feel as women, it's up to us to take this to the next level. Stop being victims and become beneficiaries. For example, the wars that the female journalists in Zimbabwe fought in 1980 are totally different from what the young people, the young women coming up today are facing. So I'm saying you have organizations that are empowering women to take all these obstacles. So why should someone be a victim today? That part I just don't get it. We have to step out and we have to take the opportunities that are there.
So you mentioned quite a lot of female editors or women that are leading as editors. So I do have amazing women who are part of Frederick Newman Foundation program. So we have Victoria Ruzvidzo, who's editor of Sunday Mail. We have Eni Mpalume working with the Daily News, Martha Momombe with ZFM, and Faith Zaba with the Zimbabwe Independent. And they're talking a lot with young upcoming women around issues of sexual harassment. And one of the issues that is really recurring is when you report sexual harassment, nothing actually happens. So I would like to hear, Monica, have you experienced any progress when there are reports around sexual harassment? Is anything actually done?
I believe there is progress. I know several cases in the media where reports have been made and the issues have been tackled. The resolution may not be what you and I want, because maybe in some cases the victims don't even know how to put their case forward convincingly. And then I also have to admit I'm a bit worried on this issue. Because there are women, we have to face it, who are part of the problem. I know there is a female editor who has been consistently fingered as pimping young female journalists working under her.
Oh, that is sad.
Yes. And then when these people come and they're supposed to be the face of our role models, there's a problem. And then we also have young females who come into the newsroom intending to use sex to get where they want to go. And then when it all goes wrong, they cry sexual harassment. These are some of the challenges to actually addressing this issue and seeing a definitive behavioral change. So this is where I'm saying, as women, let's stop being victims. And let's be beneficiaries.
Of course, we can be beneficiaries of the sexual harassment policies in the workplace, but do you think that there is actually political will and commitment to see through the implementation of those sexual harassment policies?
Often there isn't, because, well, the guy at the top who's supposed to make this decision is also implicated in this whole thing. But I feel without fighting, at individual level, just standing up and saying no, and then gathering the critical mass, we are going nowhere. Someone has to stand in the front line and face the bullets.
So sexual harassment is actually a crime in the workplace. It's important that young people within the workplace, especially young women, are able to report and stand up for themselves. But not just that, to ensure that people like yourselves who are leading in the media space begin to demand for the full implementation of the different sexual harassment policies. But I think you say something that's very interesting when you look at issues of sexual harassment and how that is used as a tool sometimes to curtail the basic fundamental freedom of expression, because we do know that sex can be used as a tool to subdue the young women or the women in the media. How do you think we can become better in terms of women stopping to be crybabies, but also for workplace policies to be implemented fully?
I think it's a good thing that the government, the Public Service Commission, has taken steps to have a sexual harassment policy. And I feel at this point, all media organizations should be compelled to not just have a written document, but to live the talk. And to actually maybe have a space where young women who feel that their reports in the workplace are not being taken seriously can appeal. Yeah.
So there you have it. I think it's important that we also begin to stand up and demand redress where we see sexual harassment policies in place. So my brothers and sisters, we are aware of the policies and we're not going to rest until something is done around sexual harassment. But when we look at issues to do with freedom of expression, issues to do with amplifying voice, especially of women, do you think that there is room for media to make it comfortable for women to actually volunteer themselves, to begin to say, I am here to comment on the hard stuff? How easy is that?
Yeah, we all have our biases, including the female journalists.
Okay.
But I think it's a two-way process. So, yes, as women, let's also normalize calling the media and saying, I want to comment on this issue. Is
Okay.
anyone doing this article?
Wow.
I would like to do a follow-up, or even writing opinion pieces.
Yeah.
Because with the opening up of the media, there's so many platforms.
Yes.
So you don't have an excuse to say, I don't have anywhere to publish.
Okay.
For goodness sake, you can even start a blog
Yes.
and get your voice out
Yeah,
there.
that's true. That's true.
So no excuses. Let's stamp our
Clearly,
authority.
and also making use of social media, right?
Right.
Of course, we're looking at issues to do with safe reporting, because you'd say that there's a lot of fake news. But talking of the media opening up and having so much in terms of space, do you think that cyberbullying is real for many women as we try and channel out news for different audiences?
I've gone through cyberbullying myself.
Okay.
I remember it was a few years back. I did an opinion piece on Itai Dzamara's disappearance.
Okay.
And people said, you're just a lifestyle editor. How do you even have a political opinion? Cesar Jai, who was my editor at the Herald at that time, must have written for you. And I stood my ground.
Yeah.
And I took on a prominent person. He's late now, so I won't mention his name. And we actually became friends because I called him out for his nonsense, his chauvinistic nonsense.
Wow.
And I believe he came to respect me. And so just claim your space.
Yes.
And be prepared for these things. Cyberbullying is real.
Yeah.
And as a woman, you're going to be called a prostitute.
Yes.
That's how they disarm you. So just stand up and say, okay, whatever. But I'm still going to have my peace. I'm still going to say what I want to say.
And I think that's very important in terms of amplifying voice. I remember Honorable Priscilla Misairambu Mshonga having that hashtag of Tesitiri Mahure, because we don't want our freedom of expression to be curtailed because people just assume many things about us.
Yes.
Yeah, but also just thinking, you have done very well, Monica, in terms of not just leading as a woman's voice, but women's narratives as well.
Imagine getting free access to the Newsday, the Standard, the Zimbabwe Independent, and the Weekly Digest for a full month. Well, you can. And all you need to do is download the Newsday e-reader app on Google Play Store or scan the Newsday QR code in any of the AMH print publications and start enjoying the quality content. Usasaririrewe, famba ne time, famba ne chokwadi, famba ne e-paper.
Monica,
Yes.
freedom of expression and looking at issues to do with the newsrooms and equality. Do you think that there will ever be equality in the newsrooms?
I think it's a long way coming. And mostly because as women, we feed into the patriarchal setup
Yeah.
where a woman who stands out, you often find your biggest enemies are female rather than men.
Okay.
So women, until we can support each other, until we can say, yes, we are not perfect, and that person is their weakness, but I'm just going to stand by her because she's a woman anyway.
Yes.
Because even the male colleagues that we support, they have their weaknesses. They're not perfect. So let's forget this superwoman model.
Okay.
Monica's sex life has nothing to do with her professional
That's
career.
right, yeah.
Unless she's having this sex life in the workplace and it's affecting everyone else.
Okay.
But if it's outside there, let her be.
Okay.
Just like your male colleague.
Yeah.
You don't care how many small houses he has.
People don't seem to.
People don't seem to.
Yeah.
But the moment it's a woman,
It
we put
becomes a
her on
big
trial.
deal. Yeah.
It's the same with our female politicians.
Yes.
They're always reduced to their sex lives. As female media practitioners, let's not be part of this narrative.
But I want to go back to the issues of sexuality. I think women in the media as well need to understand what it means to empower themselves and not be disempowered because their sex lives have been exposed, right? But is it easy though? Is it easy?
No, it's not easy. And I don't imagine for a moment, even for the males who get their sex lives laid out there, it's easy. But I'm saying it is what it is.
Okay.
And once it comes, it visits you.
Yeah.
Just hold your head up high and on your sexuality.
Yeah, okay.
But keep your professional life intact at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of equality in the newsroom, right, I think you've churned out quite a lot of inspiration today. What do you think are some of the solutions? I know we spoke about issues of sexual harassment and saying the amazing policies, the government has done a lot, and you're encouraging young women to step up. Is there anything else you think can be done to facilitate for equality when it comes to the newsrooms?
Like I said, let policies be living documents, not just pieces of paper that people have ticked off to say we've done this. But the most important aspect, Grace, for me, is for women to be empowered at individual level. One, do you know how to document sexual harassment when it is going on?
Okay.
Do you yourself actually understand
what it is?
And do you know the channels to report?
Yeah.
And if this don't work, do you know the external plan Bs? The police have actually said in some conversation we've had with them as ZimNow that there are cases of sexual harassment in the media that have been brought to their attention. But because there is no complainant, because women make reports unofficially, but they don't want to stand. So this just die because no one can act. So at some point we have to stand up and be prepared to be called mahure and everything and get justice.
Yeah, how do you think we can mobilize each other? I think that's one of the greatest challenges, because you realize if I'm alone, I can be isolated and dealt with. But I think if we mobilize ourselves as women, we can begin to make a difference. How do you think that is possible?
I'm not sure if the current organizations that we have in the country are equipped to do this.
Okay.
Or do we need to have a new one which specifically deals with sexual harassment in the newsroom?
Okay.
Because this goes beyond just colleagues and superiors. We are also harassed by the sources.
Oh.
If I call someone and I want an article, they automatically think I'm available. I'm dinner on the table.
Wow.
You know? So maybe if this is a place where people are capacitated, where people can come and say, this is my case, how do I go about it?
Wow, okay.
Where even if we can protect someone's anonymity, but we still take the case up.
Okay, all right. So I think that's very important, and I think that's a good way to go. So as we wrap this conversation up on World Press Freedom Day, and we're looking at the theme of freedom of expression and equality, what would be your parting shots to everybody that's watching this program, The Shift, today?
I just want to say that the woman's voice is important. Amplify it. And as media practitioners, male and females, ask yourself if you've exhausted all the sources, especially the female sources, when you're doing your news article on whatever platform.
Okay.
Thank you, Grace.
Fantastic. Monica Cheru, the founder and director of ZimNow. Thank you very much, my sister. It's been such a delight to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Grace. It's been a pleasure.
It's been so amazing just talking to you and hearing your mind around the World Press Freedom Day. Yeah. So thank you so much to our viewers today. It's been an absolute pleasure with me, your host. of the shift, Grace Ruvimbo, Chirenje, and I do hope that you begin to amplify women's voices when it comes to freedom of expression. Take care of yourselves, and see you next time.